where you can call, speak with a trained crisis professional if you're experiencing a mental health emergency, if there's emotional distress, substance use issues. It also has veteran services available, and it'll prompt you to access that. So this is a new 3-digit, easy-to-remember number to access that support.
988, I think I could remember that. Does it replace 911?
No, it's essentially parallel to 911. 911, if there is in fact a life-threatening emergency or concern, still utilized, but this is in addition to it where there's a mental health issue and that you want to have a mental health professional support. Also where it can be assessed and determined if a mobile team needs to be called out to your home to assist you and assess further need.
Great. And are they available 24/7?
Available 24/7, and it's free and confidential.
Perfect, perfect. And there are different ways to reach 988, right?
Yes, 988, or you can text 988, and there is also the online chat feature, which is 988lifeline.org.
Wonderful. Maria, thank you so much for joining us today. The 988 number is a brand new number that is going to save lives and help you and your friends and family through crisis. Thank you for joining us today. Maria, thank you for coming and being here and joining us, and we'll catch you later. Thank you.
Your communications coordinator for the City of Maricopa. I'm joined with Nathan Steele, the director of our Economic Development Department, and we're here at Sonoran Creek Marketplace, where the options here are getting a little sweeter with the opening of Crumble Cookie here in the City of Maricopa. So thank you for joining us, Nathan. Tell us what goes into the back end. Some of our people might not know how to get one of these popular franchises here in our community.
Yeah, well, all of this is years in the making, frankly, and not just with Crumble, but when you look at all of the tenants that are coming to Sonoran Creek and across the entire city, all of it is years in the making that starts with the landowners, the property owners, the developers, as well as all of the city planners and economic development professionals getting together to make these deals work, make these packages work. When it comes to individual tenants like Crumble, like Mod, like Jimmy John's, like ATI, and all the others here in Sonoran Creek, they're looking at the overall growth of the city. They love seeing the new homes. They love seeing the apartments. They want that diversity of housing because they know that's what's going to produce the workforce housing that they need. Everyone is always asking me, and as part of my job, I'm talking to developers and retailers on a daily basis. And one of the questions these groups are always asking me is, where are my employees going to live? And they love seeing that we're building new homes, building new rooftops daily. All right, and that's what's bringing these businesses in. And I'll tell you, it's not going to stop with these. There's more and more talks we're having, more and more users coming. That's super exciting. If we look at more of Sonoran Creek, this is just some of the more and more ones that are going to be coming. Take a look at Sprouts. You see all of those inline shops with a restaurant on the end cap, and Marshall's is going to be on the other end cap. And then just as this building over here that has Mod Pizza, Crumble, Jimmy John's, and ATI has multiple tenants, this other building under construction is another multi-tenant building where you can expect several more shops to join the Maricopa family.
Wow, that's an incredibly expansive addition to our community. It's a very exciting time to be a resident of Maricopa. Hey, for more information on what's new and coming here in your community, check out what'snewmaricopa.com.
Two-year-old Mia Preston is the picture of unbridled joy.
Oh, that's pretty. That's so pretty. Swimming.
This picture shows Mia gliding with an ear-to-ear grin during her first swim lesson. It's an image Mia's mother can cherish forever, especially when she compares it against the one taken just 43 days earlier.
They say it takes 21 seconds for a child to go unconscious in the water.
For Mia, those seconds of misfortune happened while her family was on vacation. She was playing with her siblings when, in a moment of distraction, Mia slipped out a back door and fell into the pool.
She basically drowned. My husband had to pull her out of the pool and administered CPR.
Mia's father continued that CPR for over 20 minutes until paramedics arrived and got Mia's heart beating again on its own. But Mia's battle was just beginning. She would spend 9 days in the ICU, 9 days during which her parents not only didn't know whether she'd survive, but also if she'd ever be the same.
Who's that? Yeah. Who's that, Mia? Who's that? Who's that?
Mush bear.
Mush bear.
Mush bear.
Who's
Should
that?
we open it? Run. They come back and hide.
Against the odds, Mia's condition improved, and miraculously, she's now on the road to a full recovery, a road that included a quick return to the water.
As soon as Mia got out of the hospital, the first thing I wanted to do was get her back into the water because she loved swimming, and we were really nervous that this accident would have prevented her from probably ever swimming again.
The more frequent outcome is a story that's become far too familiar for Arizona families, and one the city of Maricopa is determined to rewrite with a program called Maricopa Swims Safe in the Water.
I'm calling the meeting to order. Thank you for being here tonight, and welcome to the regular City Council meeting on January 17th, 2023. Our invocation tonight will be given by Pastor Rusty Akers from Community of Hope Church. And our invocation after which will be given, our Pledge of Allegiance after which will be given by Councilmember Wade. So please all rise if you're able.
Happy New Year, Council. Would you pray with me? Father God, we're just grateful to be here tonight, God. We thank you for another year behind us. God, we just pray for those that suffered loss this last year, that struggled. God, we pray that you would be with us in the new year. Just give this council wisdom, be with our city, Father. We pray that you would just continue to give us grace and peace as we move forward in this new year. We ask this in our Savior's name. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. That takes us to roll call.
Councilmember Gettle.
Present.
Councilmember Learman. Here. Councilmember Marsh. Councilmember Manfredi. No. Councilmember Wade.
Here.
Vice Mayor Vidiello. Here. Mayor Smith.
Here.
Madam Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Do we want to give a minute to, okay. Give you a minute. Yeah, actually, the proclamation doesn't impact Councilmember Marsh at this point. So at this time, that'll take us to the proclamations, and we have one certificate of appreciation tonight, and I'd like to invite all of City Council, if you'd like to come on down. We'll be giving out appreciation to Judge Riggs and his staff. So if you'd like to join us, that'd be great. Don't be bashful. Come on up. You're the stars right now. As many of you know, Judge Riggs and his staff served as our city magistrate and court process for the city, and has served well over the years and been a great partner. And so we didn't want time to go by without actually thanking them for their service, because it saved the city tons of money. And we're at a point in this city where we've grown so much and expect continued growth that we knew it was the right time to move forward with our own city court. And so we've done that. But we definitely want to thank Judge Riggs and his staff. So let me read this certificate that Councilmember Gettle actually put together, which I thought was very nice. This certificate is awarded with gratitude to Judge Lyle Riggs and staff for the service and dedication provided to the City of Maricopa Municipal Court and their citizens. Your effort and hard work have enabled the City of Maricopa to better serve our community. It's signed by myself, Mayor Nancy Smith, and we have all of the council members and vice mayor listed as well. So would you please also join us in thanking them for their service? Can someone take a picture? We don't want to let this time pass without a picture. We might have to scrunch it. Staff in the front, city council in the back. Step forward. Yeah. I always forget this part. All right, that'll take us to the next section, which is report from the mayor and council. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my council and vice mayor to see if they have anything that they'd like to share with you. Okay, no Councilmember Gettle. Yes, Amber? Please, Councilmember Learman, sorry. Please feel free to continue.
I just wanted to thank the mayor, vice mayor, every council member, city staff, Church of Celebration, Community of Hope Church, Maricopa Unified School District, and the entire Maricopa community for their love and support the last 2 months. I want to thank you for all the ways that you honored my son. And I look forward to serving as the liaison for Pinnell Partnership's Health and Human Services Committee that will be restarting on January 31st. And the goal of this committee is to continue to improve and expand health and mental health services here in Pinnell County. I'm really excited about that. And lastly, I just wanted to express my deep condolences to Sheriff Lamb and to his family on the significant loss that they experienced recently as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and congratulations for being appointed to that committee, or the lead, the chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wade. I don't have Vice Mayor Vidiello.
So I'd like to thank the city and city staff for the time machine. I don't know who attended. If you did attend, it was an absolute awesome affair. The music was unbelievable. The food was amazing as usual, 5 pounds to prove it. And the staff did a great job. It's amazing to see what they can put together. They were short-staffed. They had about 20 people. The music, like I said, was put on by Aubrey. Aubrey's here tonight. Please stand up, Aubrey. He puts on these great concerts. Thank you, Aubrey, for what you do for the city. And as Amber mentioned, I'd like to just take a moment of silence for Sheriff Lamb, who unfortunately buried his son, his daughter-in-law, and his 11-month-old child. It was a tragic accident that he lost them all in, 2 of them in one day, and on the 23rd, his daughter-in-law passed away. So I'd like to just take a moment of silence for the Lamb family and pray for them to get through this tough time, and we are thinking of them and praying for them. So please, a moment of silence. Thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, that takes it to me. I have a few things that I found interesting that I felt like the public would be very interested in. If you weren't able to attend the special meeting for the temporary sign code, I found it to be extremely valuable. We listened to every single person who came that night to speak about their perspective of the temporary sign code, and they also listened to us present the staff recommendations for changing the temporary sign code. They actually liked a lot of what they heard, but they still had some feedback for some of the other areas. So what we did is we agreed to take it back and come back with another revision of that, and we'll be doing that in the future. But I thought it was one of the best examples of business resident interaction with the city council on a special meeting opportunity, and it just so happens to be this temporary sign code. I thought it was very fruitful and very productive. Next, we had a meeting. When I say we, the city manager, the staff, myself, I may have had a council member with me. I need to take I need to go look at my notes, meeting with Representative Martinez on State Route 347. I have one constituent in particular that has joined what I call my influencers team. Ron Angerman is, I don't see him out there today. He's normally here. He said, Mayor, why can't you talk about 347 at every meeting so that people know we're doing something? And I said, well, you gotta have something new to talk about. You don't want us to repeat the same stuff over and over and over. But as it turns out, I went back and looked at my notes, and evidently I have talked about 347 ever since I became the mayor. And so you'll notice that there's a topic here with meeting with Representative Martinez on State Route 347. She asked us, what is our ask for State Route 347? And so we very easily provided her with a list of 3 items, and they all dealt with 347. And one actually dealt with 347 and 238, and she's on it. She's already issued House Bill 465, and once it all gets published and in for review, I'll be contacting you all. Look for me on Facebook. Look for me at City Council to say, we need your input to contact your legislators to support our bills for 347. So I think it's important for you to know that is happening. I also attended the December Arizona ADOT State Transportation Board meeting, and it was really, for me, quite amazing because you all know Priscilla Benke from Be Awesome, and she joined our influencer team as well. And what input she brought, I thought was fascinating, that has never been approached in this way before. She talked about how 347 impacts families. And she had the data and the statistics, how about 76% of our families actually use State Route 347. The other 24 might use 238, might use Maricopa Casa Grande Highway, might go south to I-8. But the 76% of our families use State Route 347 to get to and from work. And so I gave them the data from November, where 347 actually was closed 8 times and for many, many hours, and with 2 deaths and 2 separate incidences. And I indicated to them that we must do something to change that, because of the fact that 76% of our families, those children that are at home here in Maricopa and their parents are stuck on 347, that has a significant impact to those families. And we all know families are challenged anyway. So I thought it was a really great message. What I wasn't prepared for was the feedback that I received from the board members, a couple of the board members afterwards, and then some of those that were listening in. They said, that was an amazing argument. What other city has 76% of their families impacted by a road? You know, that's huge. So guaranteed I'll continue fighting that. In fact, I plan on being at the Arizona State Transportation Board with a slightly different message, but similar, this Friday. And then we had a wonderful meeting, again, we being the city manager, the staff, myself, with ADOT in regards to low-hanging fruit. Because of those 3 weeks, 8 incidences, 2 deaths, it's obvious that we need to look at low-hanging fruit to improve the safety on State Route 347. So it was a great meeting. One of the first things right off the bat is they've agreed to do a road safety analysis. They call it an RSA, new term for me, so I'm looking back at Katie. Road safety analysis, and they're going to speed it up from what is traditionally maybe about a 6-month process to a 2 to 3 month process, so that we can get all the data to understand better how the low-hanging fruit could help in regards to safety. We also have a similar type meeting coming up with DPS, because they have some low-hanging fruit that I think could help as well. And so I'll talk more about that after we have the meeting. Then I went to a wonderful breakfast, Pinal Partnership hearing, where 5 of Pinal County city managers spoke about their cities. And I gotta tell you, City of Maricopa shined. Yeah, he was phenomenal. He did a really great job. He was teased a little bit. Maybe you could just comment on that when the report from the city manager comes up. Share with them that fun story, because it's a fun story. But he did a phenomenal job representing the city of Maricopa, and actually all 5 city managers did, but I just felt like City of Maricopa definitely shined. And then lastly, I want to thank Vice Mayor Vitiello. You know, when we nominated him, I told you that I had asked him the question, are you ready? Because I will utilize you. And he's like, I'm ready, Mayor. And so this past weekend, I was sick, and I was supposed to be the presenter for the Maricopa portion of Supervisor Kevin Kavanaugh's town hall here in town. And about 2 hours before, I'm like, I can't do it, Rich. I tried. And I said, but I have slides for you. So I sent him over the slides, and I got feedback that he did a tremendous job, and I'm really impressed with him. And then also, I believe Councilmember Wade was there and Councilmember Gettle to answer questions. But honestly, again, at that town hall, the City of Maricopa shined. There really weren't any quarrels over any of the answers that the 3 of these folks provided, and there were some, challenges for the others that were in attendance. And so thank you very much, Vice Mayor Vitiello. You did a great job. And with that, it takes us to the report from the city manager.
You put me on the spot, Mayor.
I did, I'm sorry.
The mayor might perhaps be a little bit biased on who's the best city manager in the panel, but in essence, in a very friendly way, we talked about how hard it is to recruit people to come work in our cities, and how most of the cities in Pinal County generally recruit, train, and then lose them to Maricopa County cities. And that has changed recently, and they were envious of our method, because we are now, apparently I'm now the pirate of treasure, as I steal away employees from other cities. And we're grateful that we have a city that espouses the values and the opportunities that skilled people want to come here and be a part of building this city, because they feel like they can make a difference. And we've been blessed through the leadership of this council, this mayor, and frankly, all of our citizens, to create that environment where people want to come work here, and people are leaving those bigger cities and other opportunities to come here. So we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you may know that for my State of the City, I superimposed the city manager as the Hulk. Well, now I'm going to be superimposing him as the pirate. So anyway, I thought it was a lot of fun. That will take us to the call to the public. At this time, I have 3 speaker cards for the call to the public. Let me read what the call to the public, how the process works. The procedures to follow if you address the council are: council requests that you express your ideas in 3 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks or derogatory statements about a city employee, a fellow citizen, or anyone else, whether in the audience or not. The mayor will limit discussion whenever they deem such an action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of the council may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the council, may ask staff to review the matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, the members of the council shall not discuss or take legal action on any matter during an open meeting to the open call to the public, unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. So as I indicated, I have 3 cards. I'll call those first. When you come up, I believe I left the mic on green, so it should be active automatically. You'll see a green light that gives you 3 minutes. When you see the yellow light, that means you just have 1 minute left, and then we'll turn it over to the next speaker after that. If anyone in the audience hasn't turned in a speaker card and would like to speak, you're welcome to approach the podium and approach the city council members at that time, and you will be given the same 3 minutes. So first, I have Barry McCain.
Good evening, Mayor Smith, City Council, staff and friends. I'd like to first thank both councilmen for bringing up about Sheriff Lamb, my friend. That's been, out of 6 people, it's rough 2 months for me. But you understated what our city manager did on Friday. It was great seeing Mayor Smith, but it's true. You look so good. It's like, and then I got to see him afterwards. It was great. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm from 36609 West Monte Rosa Drive, a street. Still not got used to it yet. But we have 2 more weeks now. But again, for MLK, I was able to acquaint with my friends, the new Adrian Fontes and Ruben Gallegos, my 2 best friends. It was wonderful for that. I got to meet the new mayor of Phoenix, talk with him. That was good. But we have 2 more weeks now at the state capitol for legislators to turn in all their bills, so that's when the hard work comes in. I'll see you at the state meeting for transportation, because 347 has to be approached and done responsibly. After what I heard at Arizona Corporation Commission, it was a pleasure to be a Pinal Partnership. But we've got a lot of work to do, and First Amendment is the first thing I worry about on this. So I look forward to seeing you, Mayor, and anyone else, because I'm going to be all over the state, 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock again at night.
Thank you, Mr. McCain. The next speaker card I have is for Elizabeth Howell.
And I read the instructions, so all I have to do is tell you my name, Elizabeth Howell. I'm here today to talk about the Senior Info Expo, which is this Saturday. I encourage everyone to come. It's helpful if you register, because then we can count how many are coming to arrange the lunch. It's from 10 to 2 at Copper Sky in the big activity room there. And we have at this point about 40 presenters. Now, this is not a time that you can come and get free service, but you can come, and some of the presenters, or some of the people there, will be prepared to schedule you a regular meeting at their regular place of business. So Helen's is providing the lunch again, and so you'll know that that's always good. I encourage everybody to come. You do have to sign in when you get there, because we need a count of everyone that comes. If you don't register, then you get to be in the long line that says, I haven't registered yet. But we do need to account for everybody. The other thing I wanted to say is save your paper. The Shred-a-thon is coming the end of February, but I'll be back in February to remind you about that one too. Thank you very much. Yes?
A Shred-a-thon for everybody or just seniors?
Oh, no. The Shred-a-thon is a citywide event, and the Senior Info Expo is geared towards the seniors, but anybody can come. And I'd encourage everyone that's interested to come. There will be a couple of breakout sessions, and there will be free hearing screening and free blood pressure screening. So those are free things that everybody can get.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
repeat the location, the
We're
date.
at Copper Sky, Saturday, today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
Perfect. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
The next speaker card is from Aubrey Morris.
Good evening, everyone. Just want to come by, as I did last month. First, I want to thank the city of Maricopa, Mayor Smith, City Manager Hoist, and the city council members for allowing the partnership with my team, Maricopa AV Events, to partner. Over the last 2 years, we have organized multiple music events here in our great city, including 2 Black History Month festivals, 1 African American Music Month celebration, 1 country western music event, and 1 Latin music event. And last, 1 multicultural music festival.
You have more time. I told Vice Mayor to keep me accountable for this machine.
You're doing so good.
I know, I was right on it. But I'll give you another minute. Go ahead.
Okay, so the Concerts in the Park series was a big hit, held October through December with financial help from some of the members of the City Council, Mayor Smith, Maricopa Community Foundation, and Orbital Communications. We were able to keep these events free, and at the December event, we were able to feed everyone for free. This past weekend, as Councilman Vitiello alluded to, the 5 decades of music, actually known as the Time Machine, which gets endorsed by Nathan Olliott, spearheaded by Brenda Campbell and her team, and produced by my team. The event was a big hit. The NACE co-sponsored event is scheduled for Friday, November 10th, 2023, which is Super Bowl weekend, whereas we have secured the Intruders, the world-famous Intruders, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's our hope that City Council members join Maricopa AZ Events financially to make this totally free for the Maricopa residents. And I would like to give a special thanks to Council members Vitiello and Wade, who consistently attend our events, Councilman Marsh for his generous donation for the Concerts in the Park series. And last, to those of you who have not attended our event, please do so in February to see a big city production produced here in our small but growing city. Also, Councilman Ghetto, I seen him at the last event. And last but not least, former Mayor Price, who was part of our very first event held in February 2021. So, just like to say thank you to everybody.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Thank you. Would anyone else from the audience like to approach the podium and speak to City Council? Yes, come right up.
Mayor Smith, Vice Mayor Vitiello, and Council. I'm Tori Anderson. I currently live in the city of Maricopa and have for quite a long time, a lifelong resident. It is that time of year, so besides Happy New Year, I haven't seen you in a while, so it's nice to see your smiling faces. We do an event every year in February. This year it's going to be February 25th at 6 p.m. at Herzog Chin. And it is our 18th annual Seeds of Change Gala. Where does that money go? It goes right here in Maricopa to support our domestic violence and sexual assault programs, crisis shelter, and transitional living for our citizens of Maricopa and our families. We have had thousands of families come through the shelter, and this event originally started 18 years ago to actually build the shelter. Through land donations and generous contributions, it's been up and running for about 7 years now. And we have been able to support hundreds and thousands of Maricopa and Pinal County families, and even some from out of state because we are part of the national network. And we have several sister agencies that we do business with because you have to have partnerships. So Against Abuse Incorporated has been in Pinal County and operating for over 40 years. So I am a proud board member, along with Councilman Henry Wade, and I am proud to be able to say that 18 years, we're still doing this. We don't count the COVID issue. So it's been exciting. I did mail invitations to everybody, but this is an open invitation to anybody in the city or in Pinal County or anybody who's listening that would like to come out and support a local women and children's domestic violence and sexual assault shelter. This is the time to do it. We only do one fundraiser a year. We don't walk around with our hand out. So it's February 25th, 6 p.m. at Harrah's. Tickets are on sale now, and you can go to seedsofchangegala.org, and you can purchase tickets there. You can also purchase sponsorships if you would like to be a sponsor and have your advertising and have reserved seating. This is the time to do it. So if you have questions, you can email me at torielanderson@gmail.com. Happy to answer questions, concerns, anything you have. I'm here to answer those. I do have extra invitations. I'm actually going to give them to Vanessa just to make sure that those that didn't get one I did mail them, but sometimes mail gets lost. So if you know of somebody who would like to be a partner, please make sure they get these. And thank you so much for the ongoing and 18 years of incredible support for our women and children's shelter here in the city of Maricopa. I am a proud Maricopa resident and very grateful to call this home.
We're proud of you. And Councilmember Wade would like to say.
Yes.
I just wanted to recognize I got my invitation, and I was again impressed by the fact that it was given in handwriting. Somebody actually took the time to write it out, and I'm sure it wasn't just mine that was like that. It must have been
There were a
hundreds.
few, yeah.
A lot of class, so I just want to pass it.
Thank you. We try to, I know it's old school, but to me, that's kind of sets the precedence of what this event represents. So if you didn't get an invitation, you'd like one, please email me, torielanderson@gmail.com. Happy to send you the information. This event does sell out every year, so if you haven't purchased your tickets, I suggest you do that as soon as possible. And sponsorships, if you want to get your logo on information, contact me in the next week or so I can make sure your information is out there. So thank you for the partnership. Thank you for your support. And I love where I live.
I'm glad you added that the event sells out quick.
Yes.
I was going to make that comment, and
Good.
Tony and I already have our tickets, so
Thank you.
we're in.
Good.
Thank you, Tori.
Appreciate the time.
Would anyone else like to approach the podium and therefore talk to City Council? Yes, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Councilmen, others. Name change. Sometimes divorce happens. My name is Linda Tolbert. I'm a two-time Olympian in the 100-meter hurdles. In 1992, Barcelona, I placed fourth. In Atlanta, I placed seventh. It has been my honor to represent the great state of Arizona in 2 Olympics. I'm going to say a couple of names. Tell me if you've heard of them, or at least some of the places that they represent. Sam Westmoreland, Mississippi State College, offensive lineman. Jalen Ferguson, Ravens linebacker football team. Tony Sigurosa, 2000 Super Bowl champion in football, the Ravens. Gayle Correa, Miss Brazil beauty queen. Caleb Swanigan, Purdue basketball. Rapper Coolio, rapper DMX. Sometimes as athletes, we don't have comorbidities. We're not overweight. We're at the top of our game to compete against some of the best in the world. In 2020, COVID hit the nation. Lockdowns occurred. It was 14 days to slow the spread. That's what we were told. We had a lot of death. And those people that I just read their name off, they all died. They were young. They were athletes, one beauty queen. And we all know what happened on the field with Damar Hamlin. In 2021 through 2022, after the vaccines were made available and administered here, we are today with the phrase called sudden adult death syndrome. Why? Why is our nation's insurance actuaries reporting a 40% increase in death for 18 to 65-year-olds? Using deductive reasoning and logic, you have to draw the conclusion that something is afoot. And I'll leave it at that. I'm just concerned about what's happening to our nation. Athletes don't just suddenly die. There's something afoot.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to approach the podium at this time? Seeing none, I'll close the call to the public, and that'll take us to the consent agenda. At this time, we'll move to consent agenda. Consent agenda includes items 7.1 to 7.9. I do have 3 speaker cards for 7.2, so we will pull that off of the consent agenda and move it down to as the first item under the regular agenda. Council members, at this time, do you have any questions regarding 7.1 and then 7.3 to 7.9? I have a motion to approve by Councilmember Wade, seconded by Councilmember Learman. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Marsh?
Manfredi, just move to approve.
Oh, very good. Well, we've already got that taken care of, but thank you. I didn't know you were on the line. That's good to know. Welcome. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? So that's unanimous, and that motion carries. That will take us to the regular agenda, and we will start off with 7.2. At this point, do we have a staff member that will give a presentation?
Madam Mayor, this issue is quite simple. It's a standard transition of the maintenance responsibility for the roads after the warranty period has expired. It addresses only the city maintenance of the roads, but I think the gentleman here might want to speak to a related issue.
Perfect, thank you. So the first speaker card that I have is William Hestel.
Madam Mayor, I would like to...
Come forward, please.
Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, I would like to allocate my 3 minutes to Ken here. Is that possible?
To who?
Ken. He'd be one of the speakers on that.
Oh, I think we limit it. We do allow that? No, we don't, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and prior
so-
ones where I sat up there by you, we would allow that. That's why I
Okay.
asked. In a different community, of course. My name is William Haskell. I'm a resident, a rather new resident of Maricopa, and I want to speak to 7.2. As I understand, some entity is allocating land, a parcel 55 to the city for maintenance and stuff like that. I have no idea who that entity is. It's not listed on the documents that you passed out. And I think that's one issue that I have with it. The city of Maricopa is an elected entity, and I don't see this parking speed and use as being negotiable with an HOA. That should be governed by the city, not by an HOA, which has varying bylaws according to each HOA as in particular parts of the lakes phase 3. So I think that's another problem. I think that right now that what's going on is the HOA is applying uneven enforcement of parking and other uses of the road, which make it very difficult for the residents of each HOA to exist, where some HOAs are more lenient, other HOAs are more restrictive, or some HOAs will apply a penalty to certain people within the HOA. Other HOAs do not do that. But that's pretty much what I'm trying to get across to you. This is not good. And the city should take responsibility for parking, speed, and use of the roads. The other thing is in the newer sections, if you walk out into them, you have whole sides of each street that are restricted parking and designated fire lane. Who determines that? The HOA or you? It should be determined by you, not the HOA. Where's a person on that side of the road supposed to park if they can't park in front of their house? In their driveway, yeah. You know, you'll hear our HOA leader, administrator say, you have 2 parking places in your garage and 2 parking places in the driveway. If you have visitors, that may not work. I mean, my garage is empty. My wife and I park in it. We also have parking on the in our driveway, which my son can park in and other visitors can. But if you get another person there, they need some place to park too. And if you have a fire lane there, the HOA can come by and ticket them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I know typically we don't try to address these, but can I provide some clarification?
Absolutely. I think if that will help, yep.
In this particular case, the action before us tonight is the adoption of just the roads only. Yes, sir. Well, it is so. And if you click the link, and the link will give you all those documents, lay them all out for you, which is available on site. This is a standard practice across the entire state and across the country. With regard to HOAs, the city does neither recognize, nor do we observe, or nor do we enforce any of their rules or regulations whatsoever. And unless it is posted as non-parking, meaning it's redlined for some reason, or if it's in front of a fire hydrant, or if it's in front of a postal delivery box or something like that, there are no prohibitions whatsoever. Likewise, regardless, the roads are designed by traffic engineers who determine the speeds, the traffic signs, the signals, and all those things, which are approved through a public vetting process. When the project is first approved, they go through engineering standards, they go through the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then up to the City Council for final approval. All that was vetted and looked at by the public and meets uniform traffic standards as we go forward. Now, if there's issues regarding the HOA and what they're enforcing or not enforcing, that is a matter between you and those whom your community has elected to represent you on your HOA. And we'll be happy, Captain Judd is in the back, and he'd be happy to share with you the fact that we do not cite, we do not enforce their rules, and nor do we even recognize their rules. And if they're indicating in some way or fashion that we do, that's a misnomer on their part, and that is not the case.
Thank you. I have another speaker card from J. Kenneth Mangum.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Kenneth Mangum. I'm a resident of Rancho El Dorado, the Lakes. In spite of what has been said, which I certainly don't disagree with, I think it is important for this council to add a proviso to voting on 7.2, or separately enact a statute, an ordinance from the city, recognizing the public policy of the city not to approve of any restrictions by homeowners associations of parking on streets that are owned and maintained by the city of Maricopa. The statute was passed in 2013. As you may be aware, Arizona revised statutes 33-1818, which generally disallowed homeowners associations from banning parking on city-owned streets. The argument was made that that grandfathered in or allowed older HOAs to disallow parking. I think that's an erroneous interpretation. All the statute did was leave the prior law untouched. And the prior law, according to good common law and constitutional law, is that individuals, corporations, organizations have no right to control in any fashion the use of public streets. It's a violation of due process. It's a violation of the arbitrary and capricious standards. The courts in the states of Virginia and Florida have ruled, pursuant to policy and to constitutional law, that homeowners associations have no right to restrict parking by homeowners on city-owned streets and maintained streets. So it would be important and relevant to this topic, and why we address this, that you put in a proviso and otherwise state that it is the city's policy, public policy, and not to allow anybody to restrict parking in any fashion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will refer to our legal team, Dennis Fitzgibbons.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, we don't cite people for parking. So, I mean, that's not something the city of Maricopa does. If they're cited by their HOA, they have remedies inside their HOA that they can pursue. So if they feel that they are wrongly cited for parking violations by their HOA, they have every right to appeal those inside their HOA and even go to Superior Court to gain relief if they feel they're being wrongly cited. I don't think the city of Maricopa has cited them for parking violations, so it's inside their HOAs, and there's relief that they can use. All the HOAs have CC&Rs recorded against the property that give them rights concerning their property. So if they feel the HOA has acted improperly, they can pursue those against the HOA, not the city of Maricopa.
Thank you, Dennis. And before I go to the third speaker, it dawned on me when I was about ready to ask you a question that I did not read this agenda item. 7.2 reads as follows. It's RS 23-02, a resolution of Mayor and City Council of the City of Maricopa, Arizona, accepting public improvements and maintenance responsibilities for all local internal streets within the Lakes at Rancho El Dorado subdivision, parcel 55, into the city street road maintenance system, and this is for discussion and action. As I mentioned, I do have a third speaker card from Nick Levite. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. This is my first time here, so I hope I don't mess this up too much. Kind of to speak to what you were saying with having methods inside of the HOA to combat some of these things, they're really fictitious. We don't know who is elected. We don't know how to get a hold of them. They are this mysterious thing, and I've asked several times. I've gotten many fines from them for parking on the street, even though they're city-owned. The city does have municipal codes that say what elects a violation through the city, but the HOA, specifically the Lakes HOA, continues to ignore it. Additionally, in the Lakes HOA, there's a specific revision, or there's a specific section that says no other governmental entity is allowed to own or accept any part of their developed roads or sidewalks. So if that rule is considered illegal, then a large majority, or the majority of it that speaks to how they handle the road, should also be deemed illegal. And they should be told about that, because they continue to ignore my requests and my appeals, my attempts to appeal and try to redirect. I am a struggling student. Hopefully I'm almost out of school. I got one semester left, but I don't have money to go get a lawyer. So I guess that's my spiel. Thank you.
Thank you. I will have to go back to the city manager. City manager, I can't verify, and maybe these three gentlemen can verify. I believe that the Lakes has not officially turned over to a homeowner-ran HOA. So they don't have a board.
Well, they have an HOA. The question is it still the developer operating, or
Yes,
is it turned over
it's still
to
in
the
developer
elected body?
operation.
But the HOA does exist, and,
Yes.
and they sign documents when
Yep.
they purchase their home. When projects are developed, it's concluded early on if they're going to be public streets or private streets. There's only 2 subdivisions in town, province, and one small piece of Homestead that are private streets. We still do not enforce our rules, and our rules still apply, even though they're private streets. Unfortunately, it's not incumbent upon the taxpayers of the city to fund a lawsuit or a contest for individual citizen against their HOA. We do have, in most cases, the management group. We have that data available, and we're happy to share that with them. But beyond that, this is really a kind of a civil matter, and happy to help them how we can, but the city cannot interfere or step in on behalf of a private citizen in a matter that has nothing to do with the city. So beyond that, the action again tonight is just for us to take over the maintenance of the roads. That doesn't change the current traffic postings, the signals, the signs, whatever may be there. It doesn't change any of that. And again, we are not going to cite anyone for traffic or parking violations unless it's been identified, like I said before, parked in front of a hydrant, parked in front of a mailbox, or if the city has erected a signage for some reasons, which I can't contemplate what that would be, out there for any particular reason. So I'd be happy to talk to these gentlemen. Again, Captain Judd's back here, happy to talk with them to assure them that that's not the business we're in. We're not the law enforcement for HOAs, and unfortunately, they have to fight that fight on their own.
Thank you. So, council members, 7.2 is the topic at point. Are there any questions from council members? Seeing no questions, do I have a motion? And to approve by Councilmember Gettle. Do I have a second? Vice Mayor Vitiello, seconded. Any additional conversation, questions on this? Councilmember Wade.
I don't think we're going to be able to satisfy your concerns, but I would hope that you would continue down the track as far as getting the accurate information for who's in fact causing you this consternation. That's what I would ask, is that you continue down there. If it's not us, it has to be someone, and hopefully you can get some service or some satisfaction from that.
Yeah, the management company should be able to tell you who's making the decisions, point you in the right direction.
Mayor Smith?
Yes, Vice Mayor Vitiello.
So just to let you know, I'm a Cobblestone board member, and our ordinance is 72 hours. So if you have a car parked out there for 72 hours, Judd, could you give me a nod? Yes, that's 72 hours, correct? Yes? Judd? Yeah. City code 72 hours. Now, the only time after that, if the car is broken down or it's been sitting there with a flat, is the only time that the city would actually come out and ticket you. As a board member, we get people complaining all the time that they park their car. There's nothing at least in Cobblestone and most developments, there's nothing the board members, that number that they keep throwing at you is probably, what, $25 a month? Yes. Yeah, $25 a month.
Let's not carry on a dialogue.
So the bottom line is that you have 72 hours that you can park in the streets, so.
Well, let's clarify that. There's 72 hours without moving your vehicle. If you go to work and come home and park in your street, you can do that every day of the year, you know, so. And that rule is mostly for like RVs and campers that might come in, so there's nothing that's ever just cut and dry. But if you're parking in the street because you're going to work and coming home, going to the store, coming home, there's nothing wrong with that, so.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Mayor and Council, if they have questions, again, be happy to speak with them or Captain Judd. But I really
Absolutely.
look forward.
Absolutely. All right, so I do have a motion and a second. No further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
I'm going to, for clarification, ask, I believe that was Councilmember Manfredi. Was that a for or against?
Yeah, I said aye. Unfortunately, the sound is really bad for some reason.
Okay, perfect. So that's a unanimous vote to approve. This item has been approved. That will take us to the regular agenda at this time. We first have item 8.1, which is app 23-01. I'll go ahead and read it. The mayor and city council shall discuss and take action on making appointments to the various committees, discussion and action. And so this one tonight, well, I haven't had a chance to ask Councilmember Marsh, do you have any appointments to make tonight?
No.
Councilmember Manfredi, do you have any appointments to make tonight?
No, I don't have any we need to make tonight, no.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. So these two appointments tonight actually belong to me. My first one that I'm going to make is for the Parks, Rec, and Library Committee. At this point, I'd like to nominate Brandon Ashelman. Brandon has personally taken initiative to help his HOA in regards to recreation for their opportunities. He has a passion for disc golf, but enjoys all fun of all kind. He's extremely excited about the possibility of serving. Brandon would be here tonight. I normally request that they come here tonight. He has also completed the application. I insist that that application is filled out, but he's on a cruise, so I let him off the hook. So he's my nomination for my open seat for Parks, Rec, and Library. I think I'll just go ahead and move on and we can have dialogue about both of them if you don't mind. Okay, perfect. I then have a P&Z recommendation. I'd like to nominate James Singleton. I spoke with 3 other interested parties, all wonderful. In fact, the other 2 I actually recommended for Pinal County P&Z. However, James has been coming to P&Z meetings for a long while. He's done his research. I asked a lot of him, and he's done it to ensure he understands the lane of P&Z. Spoke with him about meeting with the city manager to ensure that he understood the pressures and is ready to take the training. So he's followed through on everything. I think he'll do a great job. He has completed his application, and so that is my nomination for P&Z. And James is in the audience tonight. So James, if you wouldn't mind standing and waving and letting people know who you are. So at this point, council, do you have any questions on these 2 nominations, or is there someone that would make a motion? Motion by Councilmember Wade to approve. So I have a second.
I'd like to second.
Motion by Councilmember Gettle to approve. Any further discussion on this item? Yes,
Mayor, if I
Councilmember
may.
Gettle.
Thank you. So I have not yet had an opportunity to meet Brandon, but James I've met a few times, and I appreciate his valiant effort in moving our city forward and taking an interest in helping to create a community here. So I wholeheartedly support his nomination tonight, and I'm grateful for his service thus far. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. At this point, we'll go ahead and ask all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously, and congratulations, James and Brandon. That'll take us to item number 8.2, which is a public hearing. The mayor and city council shall hear public comment regarding the request by S3 Biotech LLC and Riggins Investment Properties, Inc. to amend the general plan future land use map on approximately 40.57 acres of land generally located at the northeast corner of North White Parker Road and West Farrow Road within the city of Maricopa Incorporated limits, as described in case number GPA 22-12, and it will be presented by Derek. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Vice Mayor, members of the council, my name is Derek Shearer. I am a planner with the Development Services Department. I'm here to present agenda item 8.2. If I could just note that my presentation here ties agenda items 8.2, 8.4, 8.5, 8.6, and 8.7 together as one presentation, as they all work together. The first is for a minor general plan amendment, GPA 22-12, which has to precede the proposed zone changes, which are Zone 2208, Zone 2209, and Zone 22-10. These are otherwise known as Maricopa Mixed Use, Artisan Villas, and the Allure Apartments. These applications are for property located at the northeast corner of North White and Parker Road and West Farrell Road. The applicant is Roy Arietta from Ware Malcolm. The subject site is approximately 60 acres overall. The proposal is for a minor general plan amendment from high-density residential, medium-density residential, and employment to high-density residential, and 3 rezone requests from general rural to general commercial, multiple unit residential, and high-density residential. And I'll get into the details of that in a moment here. On the screen, we have details of the request. So the request is to basically clean up the future land use map at this site. When the land use designation was first applied to this site, it was rather broad brush and in general. They wanted to, the city wanted to put down the future land use to make it available, this property to be developed in a high-density urban fashion with commercial at the corner and then higher density residential sort of moving away from the high-density intersection to lower density single-family residential that you find to the east of the site, which is the Eagle Shadows and Sorrento developments. Here we have on the screen the proposed rezone developments with conceptual site plans for the general commercial, the high-density residential in the middle, and then the lower density multifamily residential. So you sort of had this cascading effect of densities going from high commercial all the way down to single family further to the east. The proposals for the rezones will be for an office park with a commercial complex, future retail development, and mixed-use office self-storage. For the residential components, the blue section in the middle, which is the high-density residential, this is going to be a proposed multi-story garden apartment building development, multi-story, high-density. The other to the east is more cottage style, which we've seen in the city before with the single 2-story cottage development for rent product. Each unit has its own small rear yard. And so all of these, confusingly, are all together and tied together in these various applications. For the general plan amendment, as you can see on the left here, this is the general plan for the area as it stands. You can see the E is for employment. The commercial portion of the rezone request falls under the employment. It is permitted under that. But what we can see here is for the middle section for the high density residential and then the multiple unit residential to the east more, you can see that it sort of encompasses a little bit of the employment, a little bit of the medium density residential and the high density residential. So on the right, the proposed general plan amendment would encompass all of these areas for the multifamily development under the high density residential category, which would then permit for the zone changes for these. As I said, when this was put down, it was rather broad brush, didn't take into consideration exact sizing of lots for future development, but just to sort of establish this is what the city wants in this area. Now it's being fine-tuned for the eventual development. For the zoning, right now it is general rural. It is being farmed currently, but the proposal now is to rezone the commercial lot, proposed lot for general commercial, then residential high density, and the multiple unit residential. The proposed general plan amendment meets 4 goals of the city's master plan as on this, put up on the screen and also in the elucidated in the staff report. For brevity, I'm not going to read through all of these different sections that it does meet, but it is supported by the master plan. Also, the proposed zone changes are in conformance with the master plan amendment is in conformance with the zoning ordinance with the general plan. So the general rural to general commercial, multiple unit RM, and high density HR to give context to the goals of the surrounding area. It's appropriate. This proposal has been fully vetted by all the departments, reviewing departments for the city, and it meets all the requirements of Section 18 of the zoning ordinance. There's applicant has met all of the criteria and requirements under the ordinance for public outreach, holding a neighborhood, sending out a neighborhood notification meeting and posting the site on November 4th, posting legal notices in the newspaper, holding a neighborhood meeting on November 22nd at the library, and then this was seen before the Planning and Zoning Commission on December 12th, where it was unanimously recommended for approval. Therefore, from the Planning Commission's recommendation, recommending approval of GPA 22-12, zone case zone 22-08, zone case 22-09, zone case ZON 22-10, subject to the conditions of approval stated in the staff report that has been presented to the council. And I am here for any questions that the council may have. The applicant is also here if there's any questions for them.
Thanks, Derek. Excuse me. Yes.
I had just a few side comments.
Sure.
We've heard before, and I just wanted to bring out the significance of the fact that we're actually putting 20 acres of commercial into a product that
I love
exists.
it. Yep.
Not only that, we talked about how traffic patterns will change as commercial retail opportunity moves further to the east of the city, and the amount of square footage they have for office and flex space and retail will be significant, and that will begin to change the traffic patterns that we currently have going into other retail. So we've talked about this in the past, but this is a great example of how that's now coming to fruition.
Absolutely, and I thank you for bringing that back to the attention because it's a really great point to make. This is a public hearing, so I'd first go to the public. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. I have no speaker cards, but if anyone in the audience would like to approach the podium and address the council, you may do so at this point on item 8.2. Excuse me. So, I see none, I will close the public hearing. Council, are there any questions that you may have? Okay, Councilmember Wade.
It's curious. You have attendance at the meetings that you conducted, or the people that actually show?
Yes, at the public meeting at the library, there were a number of attendants, and they're actually rather supportive. They're wondering when this area of the city was going to start develop, and with the proposed development, there wasn't any objection to it. They were just inquiring when and what. I'm sorry, I couldn't? Yes, 600-foot radius for mailing notification, publication in the newspaper. It's also, the signs posted at the site have a QR code that when you use your cell phone, it links to the city's website where we have all the documentation for the applications.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Vitiello? Oh, same question. Very good. Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Thank you very much. That takes us to agenda item 8.3. This is 8.3 PH 2305, and I will read that. The mayor and city council shall hear public comment regarding the request by Alan Bodone and Rachel Smith of Norris Design on behalf of Sean Ridge LLC to amend the future general plan land use map, approximately 20.17 acres of land generally located southeast of the southeast corner of John Wayne Parkway and Maricopa Casa Grande Highway within the city of Maricopa Incorporated city limits as described in case number GPA 22-09. And again, Derek is back with us for the presentation.
Yes, good evening again, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Derek Shearer with the Development Services Department, here to present item 8.8, and as before, 8.8 and 8.9, these two applications go together. 8.8 is for a minor general plan amendment, and 8.9 is for a rezone for a planned area development. This project currently is called Apartments at Honeycutt. However, in future, it will be called Overland Waterman Butterfield Apartments. This is a minor general plan amendment, GPA 22-09, and planned area development rezone, PAD 22-13. The applicants for this project are Rachel Smith and Alan Bedoin of Norris Design. The location is southeast of the southeast corner of State Route 347 and Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. I have a vicinity map up there, and you can see the subject site highlighted in yellow. The site is approximately 20 acres. It's sort of stuck down there, a little separated off of John Wayne Parkway, but I'll get into that in a moment. The minor general plan amendment is to amend the future land use map from employment to high-density residential, and to rezone the site from light industry and warehouse, CI2, to the apartments at Honeycutt planned area development for proposed multifamily residential development. The proposed development will have access from State Route 347 via Honeycutt Avenue. The city will be constructing out Honeycutt Avenue along that to the east and then down to the south. That'll connect and dead end to the site and provide access to John Wayne Parkway for the site, and then also for future development of that vacant area there, but that's an application for another day before the council. The proposal is going to have 8 multifamily buildings. 4 are going to be workforce restricted. That means that these apartments will be, renting at these apartments will be income restricted for workforce level incomes. 3 will be market rate, and 1 will be senior restricted 55 plus. As we can see here, I'm pointing out the 4 market workforce rate are going to be on the north side of the property. The 3 buildings for the market rate are going to be the 3 buildings on the southern side, and that large building that you see to the right, that is the senior restricted. The PAD, a planned area development, as we know, it's not a base zone. It is an established almost zoning ordinance by the applicant. And we look at this to, some developments don't fall within the exact parameters of our zoning ordinance. So we encourage developments to get a little creative, create their own ordinances, and provide things in excess of what our zoning ordinance does while they try to do little variations to create a unique development. And this development here is one of the first types in the city. We have this Main Street concept where Honeycutt Avenue is going to lead into the project area where they're developing this Main Street. The Main Street concept, I'm going to get into a little bit further, I've got another slide on that, really celebrates this development and is unique, and I'll show you that in a moment. Overall, the PAD, they're going to be providing a lot of individual clubhouses for the different types of market, for the market rate, for the workforce rate, and the senior buildings. So each type of development is going to have its own clubhouse. However, there's overall community space open to everybody that lives in the overall property. There's dog park, sports cart, tot lot, walking paths, pollinator gardens, a lot of landscaped open space, a lot of different activities that we don't see in a lot of these different multifamily developments. For the Main Street concept, which is the main selling point of this PAD, residents, guests will come down Honeycutt Avenue, enter the site along this Main Street. It's going to have angled parking off to the side of it, garden walls with seating nodes, decorative string lighting like Edison lamps going across the street. It's going to be well landscaped, patio connections from the buildings that you see there, Building 1, Building 2, Building 3. Building 4 will have direct access from their patios out to sort of the Paseo area adjacent to the Main Street, encouraging pedestrian movement throughout the community, but then also westward towards what will be future retail and commercial development, and then to State Route 347 and all of the transportation connections. There's going to be landscape parking islands, walkways, a heavy use of solar on top of all of the carports in the area. The applicants are here if the council has any questions, wants any further in-depth details on what the proposal is going to be, but it is rather unique to what we've had so far. For the general plan amendment, right now the site is employment. Multifamily does not fall under that category, so for the general plan, they're proposing an amendment to high-density residential to be able to do multifamily development on the site. For zoning, right now it is light industry and warehouse, with the proposal being a PAD. When we look at this site, this area next to the railroad tracks, it's industrial. The tracks are industrial, but we have a single-family subdivision to the south and just to the southeast of the site. Having industrial zoning right next to single-family zoning really isn't the best differentiation between land uses. Under the light industry and warehouse, a whole slew of different type of industrial development could occur by right, just coming in with a development review permit to planning. While with this creates a buffer from that industrial railroad tracks, the commercial that'll eventually come in to the west, and then that single family to the south. 4 general plan goals and objectives are met by the proposed general plan amendment. Again, I've stated them in the staff report, and I won't read through them here for brevity. The proposed zoning change is consistent with the general plan when adopted by the council. Light industry and warehouse, the PAD gives a context of the surrounding areas, and it's rather appropriate. It's been fully vetted by all departments within the city before going to the Planning Commission and here to the council, and it meets all the requirements found in Section 18 of the zoning ordinance. The applicants have gone above and beyond on their public outreach. Before they even applied, they went out, did neighborhood notification meetings to gather input from the neighboring property owners of the subdivisions to the south about their development or their proposal at that time. They had their first neighborhood meeting back in June of last year. They posted the site. They posted in the newspapers in September. They had another neighborhood meeting back in October. They reposted the site, reposted in the newspaper, and then went to the Planning and Zoning Commission last December, and recommendation from the Planning Commission was unanimous for approval. And here I present that recommendation for GPA 22-09 and PAD 22-13 for approval subject to conditions stated in the staff report. And if the council has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And as I said, the applicant and their consultant and development team are here as well and be happy to answer any questions.
Excellent, thank you. This is a public hearing. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. I have no speaker cards on this agenda item, but would anyone from the audience like to approach the podium to address the council? Yes, we have one. Thank you. State your name.
Ronald Smith, Madam Mayor, Council. We are proposed senior apartment here, and I would like to have some time with the developer to know what the potential amenities are in the senior apartments. Not that it's just a qualification for seniors, but that there might be something actually different about these apartments that support senior living. And so that would be something I'm concerned about. We're desperately in need of that, and it's a great opportunity here in this city to step ahead and do something unique. So I would like to have the opportunity to talk to someone about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Would anyone else like to approach the podium to address the council? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Thank you. Council, do you have any questions, concerns over this element for Derek? Councilmember Gettle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Scheer, if you could maybe just help me a little bit on, first of all, I just want to congratulate the developer and also staff for seeing such an amazing product come together to fruition. We applaud these great ideas and look that this will be a wonderful community or addition to our community. If you could go to slide 4 for me, just the overview of the property itself. It is a unique piece of property as it is nestled between tracks. We have that one access road that comes into that community. My only question is about the safety of that specific site. I see that we do have a secondary access for emergency access there on that northwest corner, but that also appears from this map to funnel back into Honeycutt. Is that correct?
The secondary emergency access, actually, it isn't going to funnel right back, sorry, Madam Mayor,
No, no problem.
Council, to Honeycutt Avenue. It will continue along the railroad, if I can go to the, all right, here. It will, and my laser's not working. So if you can see, if you follow the subject site, the yellow line indicating it parallel to the railroad tracks, if you continue that up towards the overpass, and then where you see the shading for the overpass, where you have the striping, but then it gets dark, there's actually right-of-way that goes under there and comes back around and is, the street's name is eluding me right now, but it comes back down and around there. So until the site to the west develops, their secondary emergency access is going to go out that way, loop around, so emergency services will be able to come in through there. We've went through this quite a bit with the developer, our fire plans examiner, the fire marshal, the fire chief, who's here as well and can speak to this. So that is the proposed emergency access until the other area develops and creates more access points to be able to exit out to John Wayne, possibly down to Desert Cedars Drive, if that development connects down to Desert Cedars Drive, or other punch outs along John Wayne Parkway.
Okay, thank you. I just want to be sure that we had a very clear 2 access points to that community.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like we do. Thank you for your answer.
If I may,
Thank you, ma'am.
this became possible because when we took over the John Wayne Boulevard, we were able to then control the land underneath the overpass, which we approached ADOT previously and they weren't supportive of it, but now that it's our property, we were able to move this.
Well, thank you. I did not know that was back open for discussion.
Yep.
That's exciting because that
We
creates,
actually are hoping to extend that road underneath the overpass so that citizens of that side can easily get to the retail area, which is forthcoming as well, so they don't have to burden the other main intersection.
Very
So
nice.
those
That's,
plans to be
that's
forthcoming
very
later.
exciting. Because for those of you who aren't aware, that actually adds to our open trail spaces and makes for a smooth moving segue from the north side to the south side. It's excellent. I'm glad that opportunity is still now available again.
There will be a walkway trail system that will go to the new pedestrian overpass and get you across.
Excellent.
So people can walk to the shopping area
Excellent.
and so forth.
Not part
as
of the
well.
project, I know, but yes,
But
that's really good.
it's
Thank you for
intertwined.
sharing that.
Thank you, Manager.
Any other council members have questions, concerns? So I just have one, Derek. The question I received was basically that second point of egress, because it would be for emergency only. And how will that be maintained only in the case of one of our super rains and mud? And should that be a point of contention? How will it best be used if it becomes a muddy situation? And I'm not sure if there's a solution there, but I suspect there probably is.
If I could address that, it's already hard packed, and semi-trucks and dirt trucks and dump trucks and heavy loaders that service the landscape supply store is already using it during the rains and not. You may need a car wash, but it's not going to bog.
Yeah, so it becomes more like out
It will all be
in
paved eventually.
the Pinal County area south of us, where when it rains and it's a dirt road, it's still very useful
Yes.
because it's been hard packed. Very good, thank you.
That's not
all.
true for the center sections, but along that corridor it is.
Exactly, perfectly understood. Thank you, Derek, I appreciate that, and that is the end of agenda item 8.3. That'll take us to agenda 8.4, as Derek has indicated, is connected with a previous item. I'll go ahead and read it. 8.4 reads, Res 23-03, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Maricopa, Arizona, approving and adopting a minor general plan land use amendment to change the land use from existing high-density residential, medium-density residential, and employment to high-density residential for approximately 40.57 acres of land generally located at the southeast corner of North White and Parker and West Farrell Road within the City of Maricopa Incorporated city limits as described in case number GPA 22-12. This parcel of land is located in a portion of the section 31, Township 4 South, Range 4 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin Meridian, Pinal County, Arizona. This is for discussion and action. This is item 8.4. I have no speaker cards. Council, do you have any questions, concerns? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Lehrman, second. Second by Councilmember Wade. One more opportunity for questions or comments. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I do want to mention at this point that earlier, Councilmember Manfredi had to drop off due to difficulties of maintaining the connection. But he is watching from online. All right, so that motion carries. Item 8.5 reads as follows. Ordinance 23-02, an ordinance of mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa approving and adopting an amendment to the city's zoning map to rezone approximately 19.35 acres of land generally located at the northeast corner of North White Parker and West Farrell Road within the city of Maricopa incorporated limits from general rural to general commercial as described in zoning case ZON 22-08. The parcel of land is located in a portion of Section 31, Township 4 South, Range 4 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin and Meridian, Pinal County, Arizona. This is for discussion and action. And again, as Derek mentioned, there's not a new presentation. It's linked to a previous presentation. I don't have any speaker cards. So council, do you have any questions or concerns on this particular item? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Motion to approve by Vice Mayor Vitiello. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Gatto. Any further discussion on 8.5? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. That'll take us to agenda item 8.6. This is ordinance 23-03, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa approving and adopting an amendment to the city's zoning map to rezone approximately 24.26 acres of land generally located at the northeast corner of North White and Parker Road and West Farrell Road within the city of Maricopa incorporated limits from general rural to multiple unit residential as described in zoning case number ZON 22-09. The parcel of this land is located in a portion of Section 31, Township 4, Range 4 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin and Meridian, Pinal County, Arizona. This is for discussion and action. Another item that was presented earlier associated with the approval process. I have no speaker cards. Council, do you have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilmember Gettle and seconded by Councilmember Wade. Any further conversation? Questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries. That'll take us to agenda item 8.7, which reads ordinance 23-04, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa approving and adopting an amendment to the city's zoning map to rezone approximately 16.31 acres of land generally located at the northeast corner of North White and Parker Road and West Farrell Road within the city of Maricopa incorporated limits from general rural to high-density residential as described in zoning case ZON 22-10. The parcel of land is located in a portion of Section 31, Township 4 South, Range 4 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin Meridian, Pinal County, Arizona. This is for discussion and action. Again, presentation has been provided earlier. I have no speaker cards. Council, do you have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, do I have a motion? So moved by Councilmember Lehrman. Do I have a second? Seconded, they're taking turns up here. Seconded by Vice Mayor Vitiello. Any further conversation, concerns, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry, Bob. Sorry, Councilmember Marsh. Any opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to Agenda 8.8. Let me read that with my froggy voice.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
it's not necessary to read the entire paragraph.
Thank
Just
you.
reference it.
just reference it?
Straight from the
Why didn't you tell me that like in August?
You were new and you had to go through your ordeal.
All right, we'll have to talk about which ones I have to read if there are any. Because I'm telling you, by the time, does anyone know where Section 27, Township 4 South, Range 3 East of the Gila and Salt? Okay, thank you, perfect. This is Agenda Item 8.8, RES 23-04, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Maricopa approving and adopting a minor general plan use amendment. I have no speaker cards for this item. Council questions, any concerns? Seeing none, do I have a motion? So moved by Councilmember Wade. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, Bob, you got it. Councilmember Marsh, you got in there. Second by Councilmember Marsh. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And our last item, 8.9, which is ORD 23-05, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa approving and adopting an amendment to the city zoning map to rezone approximately 20.17 acres of land generally located on John Wayne Parkway and Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. I have no speaker cards for this item. It has been previously presented. Council, do you have any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Councilmember Gettle. Do I have a second? Second by Vice Mayor Vitiello. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to the end of our agenda. This session is finished. Thank you for all coming.